Hello, this is Greg Berzinsky for Beardbrand, and today we're going to give Daniel Kaufman a beard trim. So you're probably wondering why on earth you would trim your buddy's beard. When I took a survey before, we found out that a lot of guys wait about 3 months to have their beards trimmed. They weren't really satisfied with their trim that they got from a barber, so they put it off for a while. For other guys, it came down to actually the amount of money they were spending between a haircut and a beard cut. They just couldn't do it more than every 3 months. But in fact, they wanted to get their beards cut once a month or every 2 months, and they were waiting to the third month. So in between, you can cut your own beard. There's lots of information on this channel from Jeff and from Carlos, from myself, on how to trim your own beard. So there's lots of information there. And you can take that information and maybe help your buddy out by helping him cut his beard. And so I'm going to show you how you can quickly do that. I did a tape pretty recently on how to do a maintenance trim. And so we have this lucky volunteer who's going to let me cut his beard. I have to tell you, I have never cut a guy's beard before. So this is...
That's great. Perfect.
I can cut my own beard, so I'm not afraid to do that. And I'm not afraid to mess up my own beard. And Daniel has confidence in me to cut his beard. And so we're just going to give it a go and see how it goes. Daniel is the first case that I talked about. He actually had an experience with a barber who actually took too much off of his beard, thinning it down too much, cutting too much off the bottom, and just frankly didn't listen to what you had wanted in terms. Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it was. He moved my lines down so they were uneven, had me tilt my head to the side to try to level it out, and it just didn't make any sense. And ever since then, I've never let anyone else touch my beard because I have just pretty much been letting it grow since it was February. So
we're in June right now. So
yeah.
From February until June, so he's even longer than the 3 month part.
Well,
so
right.
This is an example of you've waited 4 months. So if you're growing a year, you kind of let it grow. In Daniel's case, he's used to getting it trimmed, and the last trim wasn't what you wanted, and it took a little more hair off than you wanted in certain areas.
Right, yeah, definitely.
So right now, what are you looking at?
I mean, really what I'm looking at, I like the length, I like the thickness of it and everything. My lines are finally where they need to be. My mustache is good. So really it just seems that the front too definitely grows down a little bit more than the sides do. And you can see it's starting to get a little transparent down here. I got a couple split ends and it just needs to be leveled out. So like you were telling me before, just taking, that little bit of inch off there, it'll just bring it back to nice and full, give it a good round shape, and not so angular from the profile.
Yeah. And now this is a look that some people go for. They want this, kind of Van Dyke point to their beard. That's great, I think, if you have uniform thickness, but I think your beard has been thinned out at the front, and so, as you said, it's starting to get transparent. And I know we're all trying, some guys are trying to get more length on their beards, but in reality, the best thing to do sometimes is actually to shorten it to make it look thicker. And so don't be afraid to do that. And you don't have to take a lot off. And in Daniel's case, we're not taking more than an inch off. And I think we're not going to take almost nothing off the sides here. So to take that pointed beard that he had, bring that up in the front, more of a box shape, which will thicken up the front. So I'm using, of course, Beardbrand scissors and Beardbrand comb. What I like about this comb, which I've talked about before, has a thin side and a wider tooth. And the wider tooth will be good to just get through the initial mass of his beard, and then you can use the finer tooth. You'll see when that's possible. So as you talked about before, we have significant length in the back and even longer in the front. So we're going to trim off about an inch on the front of his beard and blend that into the sides, just taking the very little off the back. When I pull this out, you can see that there's some hairs that are a little longer hanging out there. So this is pretty easy. So I've never cut a beard before, so you can do this too. So I'm just going to come in. I'm not cutting through all the hairs. There's a depth in his beard. And of course you use a towel for this. You probably don't have a cape in your house.
Some people do.
Some people do. So how does that look?
I mean, it's a world of difference.
Yeah. So that's just cutting through the front here. So that was about, say the beard has a thickness of about 3 inches here. Just went through the front, and now I'm just going to cut into the next layer a little bit. If you go back and watch my first beard trim video, I started by cutting the front, then moving into the back, and then to the back. So I took 3 passes at it. The scissors are pretty sharp. You don't necessarily have to do that, but you're not going to cut through the whole beard in one clip unless your beard is thinner. That boxed up the front of his beard. You can see that this area of the beard needs to be trimmed to taper into the straight part of the front.
Yeah, and even with that little bit of length gone, though, like I said, it's still keeping its shape, like that roundness to it. That's what I was looking for too. So
what I'm going to do now is connect this line to this line in the back. So you can see this area right here.
now you don't.
And at the back, he wanted to keep the length in the back, so I'm just going to eliminate any little stray hair back here. Now this side of your beard is a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about it before, not all beards grow uniform in length. Some sides grow faster than other sides, and I think mine shifts around. This side of my mustache grows slower than this side of my mustache, always has. So some beards are like that. I notice on my own head hair, the side of my hair grows faster than this. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I definitely noticed this side grows a little more too. Like ends up getting tucked underneath a little bit more quickly than the other side does.
So that's the big cuts, and then what you want to do is make sure that you re-comb the hair, keep pulling it out and making sure that there aren't curly hairs that are curled up that eventually stick out later on. So if you want to just take another pass by going through the hair and pulling it out, you'll see where you left any stray hairs. I don't like to pull tight, which I've talked before. If you pull tight and then cut, it'll spring back up, and it's not ultimately where it'll go. Daniel styled his beard, and this is what I would do also. I don't cut wet. I style my beard and then cut it. So you're more or less going to have the style in the cut of your beard is going to be consistent. So once again, pulling through the beard and getting any hairs underneath here.
And I definitely noticed too, like when, my beard got to be a certain length, like I didn't really worry about a neckline or anything like that because it just takes up so much space that a neckline would be completely...
Right, so you don't do any grooming on your neck?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't either. People ask me, do I shave the two finger rule above the Adam's apple? And I don't. So I'm going to pull through the front again and making sure that we got all the hairs even. So if you look before, you see that we took, what was actually probably even a little more than an inch off the front of his beard. But I think in reality, it looks considerably thicker. It's a look when you can have the beard, some people don't mind when their beards get thin at the bottom. I think a beard looks healthier, stronger, and is in better shape when you get rid of the straggly hairs at the bottom. So once again, to reiterate that, don't be afraid to trim off the bottom of your beard in order to make it look thicker. So advanced things, which I talked about before, and I'm not going to do it here, and you could cut off this corner to soften this edge. But this kind of trim that your friend could give you or your partner could give you will get you through to your next beard cut. And or if it works out, it can be a consistent thing for you. Not to cut out your barber. Daniel's always going to go to a barber shop to get this.
Yeah, I go every 2 weeks for my haircut.
Every 2 weeks for a haircut. He's going to the barber, so he's not cutting the barber out of the deal here. But until he finds a barber that he's comfortable with in cutting his beard, he might just let his girlfriend cut his beard, right?
Yeah, maybe. She's got tiny hands, though, so I don't know. They'll probably get lost in my beard.
Might not be a bad thing. So comment below and tell us if you would try to let your buddy or let your partner cut your beard. So Daniel, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to, I feel like the Try Guys, would you let your buddy cut your beard? And giving me the opportunity to cut your beard.
No, I appreciate it. And again, I wouldn't want anyone else to cut my beard, so there you go.
Yeah,
you got that going for you.
That's good. So until we meet again,
beard on.
Beardbrand is a premium men's grooming company with products not only for your beard, but also your hair and body. Do yourself a favor and head over to beardbrand.com and take care of yourself. Or you can stick around and watch a few more of our awesome videos.